coat.
Black Americans have some of the worst health outcomes of any racial group. Black men have the shortest life expectancies. Black women fare the worst in pregnancy. And more black babies die than in any other race.
Orthopedic spinal surgeon says more minorities are needed in medicine. He's calling out the racial disparities in his industry. Eyewitness News reporter Jordan Foster shows us what he's doing about it.
Dr. Antonio Webb says he's overcome all of the odds he's faced.
Now, I didn't know any black doctors growing up, never had met one.
One of 3 black orthopedic spinal surgeons in San Antonio, and in a city of about 100, he says there's a clear underrepresentation of black men working in his field.
There was a study that came out in 2015 that showed that there were more black men in medical school in 1978 than there were in 2015.
Webb says systemic racism, as well as a lack of resources in the black community, are just a few parts that play into why there's such a small amount of minorities in medicine.
That's what an orthopedic surgeon is, and that's what you're going to be today, okay?
This is The Scene in STEAM with Jade Frederick.
Enough breathing on this, you know.
Oh my goodness, Derran, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for coming out.
Of course.
You have a stacked schedule, so I'm glad you can make time today.
Yeah.
Well, let me gas you up a little bit, because I'm not just kidding when you say the stacked schedule. You're president of our entire class, have been since freshman year with a brief hiatus. You are co-president of S.T.E.A.M. You are an AOA member. You are a Gold Humanism Honor Society member. And you are the husband to the beautiful, the brilliant Mape, pediatrician, and, you know, our favorite, also AOA member. So, yeah, you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's actually insane, though. Do you realize how insane that is?
Yeah, you know, I said during residency, this can't continue.
No, I mean, it's good. Like your CV is like diabolical.
Yeah, but I'm tired.
Yeah, that is definitely not something to like gloss over. And I commend you. I know you didn't come in that goated. I mean, you've always been goated, but now it's really next level. So kind of tell me about your journey, pre-med, getting to med school, and now where you are now, because it hasn't always been easy for you.
Yeah.
And you've been very open about that.
Yeah, so my pre-med journey was definitely a long one. It started off with going to undergrad, as everyone does. You know, I did well my freshman year, but after freshman year, things started going downhill because I started taking on too much. First, it started with having to have 3 jobs because essentially I had to start helping my parents out at home when it came to bills, as well as my own bills when it came to car insurance and other different things and other means. My student loans didn't help with everything that I needed them to help with. And so I had to, you know, I was a janitor, within my dormitory. And then I also, was a tutor, for Upward Bound. It's essentially a college prep program for high school students. So I would tutor, math and writing. And then I also was just a standard front desk person at both the dorm and as well as within our Multicultural Center of Academic Excellence at University of Minnesota. So I basically had about 3-4 jobs. I was doing those, just trying to make some extra money and make ends meet. And so that affected me. And on top of that, I was also involved in a lot of leadership stuff as well. Clearly, I did not learn. Continue that on through medical school. But all of that to say is during my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year of undergrad, my grades did not pan out well. I ended up graduating with a 2.7 GPA, in fact. After about a year gap of trying to say, you know, I really need to figure out what I want to do in life, I ended up getting a master's degree in exercise science. And essentially just studying that, and it was a kind of a continuation of my undergrad degree in kinesiology. And so, just continued learning and said I still wanted to pursue that med school dream. But the other problem that I had was difficulty with the MCAT. I ended up having to take the MCAT 4 times. And each time I only improved by about 3 or 4 points, starting off at a 485. So, it was definitely a push. during the last two, that was ended up being around the COVID era. Mm-hmm. So I ended up, during that time frame, I moved out here to follow my now wife. She started med school in 2018, and in 2019 I moved out here, and yeah, man, I was at S.T.E.A.M just taking some post-bac classes, just trying to bolster my GPA, trying to make things look good. I actually reached out to Loma Linda asking them what I needed to do in order to get into Loma Linda. They told me, just take 3 or 4 upper division science classes for 2 or 3 quarters, and then once you do that, as long as things look well, and you continue to do better in your MCAT, we can see if we can make things happen. And so that's what I did. I didn't really take on any leadership roles or anything like that, or any jobs. I just honed in and did what I needed to do. And then eventually I got into the Master's of Medical Science program after finally, achieving a good MCAT score for that, which, I'm open about it. I got a 496. Don't think that would be the same now, but I got into that program at Loma Linda and, passed every block, and then I got into med school.
Oh.
Yeah. It took about 6 years after undergrad, but finally made it.
But you made it.
Yeah.
And then once getting into medical school, after doing the master's, your first couple of years, how did you feel some setbacks or further preparation? How do you feel that affected you going in, or how did you feel your first couple of years went once you started?
Oh, I definitely had imposter syndrome. Still to this day, I think that's just something that's really huge in the Black community is imposter syndrome, just because there's not a lot of physicians like us in medicine. There's not a lot of physicians like us in medicine. And so just going into medical school, just constantly trying to prove myself. I took on the class president role pretty early. And then I had an incident where I didn't pass my, it was my hemoimmunoblock actually. I didn't pass by 0.04. And that crushed me in a sense of man, really 0.04, y'all couldn't have let me pass. But at the end of the day, I was it is what it is. They still let me remain class president, which was pretty nice because usually they make you step down. So I just continued throughout the year, kept pushing. And then over the summer, I retook that course and I did fine. I ended up getting an 80% on the exam, and they're like, we don't know what happened. And I was like, I know what happened. That exam was ridiculous. But then what ended up happening is that because I didn't get a full rest over the summer and everything, I only had 3 weeks after I finished repeating that course, and I used it to study for STEP as well. I got into neuropsych, trying to also focus on STEP, and I ended up not passing neuropsych by a significant amount. And so from there, because of that, I decided to step down as class president for the rest of that year. In fact, not expecting to still be talked to as if I was class president by both the students and the deans. But I did step down, and grinded during my, the next block, which was Reno, did really well on that, did really well on MSK and in the application integration block, and ended up, passing. And then I got reelected, that following spring. I had to take neuropsych over 2 weeks, right before winter break. And I did once again phenomenal on that exam. And so, you have these things in mind and you're constantly man, I keep failing. Actually, in fact, I was studying for STEP. I was one of the first 15 people in my class to, in our class to take step 1. And I just remember, taking my practice test, and I was doing well. I was getting in the low 60s, mid 70s, and it was saying you have 93, 95% chance of passing. And I'm just oh, no, I'm worried because what if something happens? I don't do well on standardized tests. And I remember going to counseling and just dude, you gotta throw that away. You gotta throw that mindset away. My mentor was saying the same thing, throw that mindset away. And I ended up taking it and I passed. And it was amazing. And I can truly say I bawled my eyes out. I was in Mexico, with my wife. We were doing a little, we always try to do an annual trip. And yeah, man, I bawled my eyes out because it was a coming moment for me of I finally made it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I commend you. I'm so proud of you, Derran. I remember after neuropsych, and you talk about like you having to study for the exam again. You're just like, I'm just so tired, and like you're trying to cover you the best way I can, but medicine is hard as that. A lot of it, you can get as much mentors as you can get all of this tutors you can get, but at the end of the day, you have to do the work, you have to do the studying, and it's really tough. And you just having the grit, not only to continue going, to thrive, to take your steps so early to pass is like so commendable, so amazing. And I think in medicine we put so much emphasis a lot of time on the numbers and the grades and can we learn this amount of information in this amount of time, when like in reality being a doctor is so much more than that, and you have all the traits that is needed for someone to go to a trusted physician, you know what I mean? And like with the imposter syndrome, too, I mean, I know you said like you go to counseling and all that, tell you all these things, but still I think it's like, it's not something that we ever like fully come to terms with, or we're always kind of struggling with it. Because I remember even when you got AOA and Gulf Humanism, I mean, I can cut this out if you want, but you're like, it felt like you didn't feel like you even deserved it, or you were like, there's so many other people who deserve it, or deserve to get it and didn't get it. And I'm like, and even now I'm just like, Derran, who deserves it more than you? Like, you know everybody. You know everybody, Derran. Like, and like, everybody, not just the Black people, not just people in student council, everybody, people like on the other side of the state, the other side of the nation. And I think like, it's not seen as like a gift to you because you always had it, you always had that ability to talk to people. But I think it is really, it's a skill. It's a people skill, being able to talk to people, being able to connect people on multiple levels. All those experiences you talked about, I believe they truly helped you be able to do that. And I think it definitely served you well. And I think all those experiences that you discussed played a large role in what really allowed you to thrive, as well as your grit, which I think more than, being able to memorize information, being able to learn, facts about the body, it's really grit that brings people through. So yes, I commend you. But I mean, having gone through what one might call an untraditional path in medicine, what kind of advice would you give to students who, weren't always the top of their class in high school or undergrad and weren't able to go straight through and had to work and didn't have time to study? What advice would you give to them coming in?
Yeah, the advice that I would give to them is first that you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. I've had multiple people while I was through as I call my Joseph in a colorful coat moment, sitting in that prison of those 6 years, just constantly trying to get into medical school. I had a lot of people come to me saying like, bro, you should like change careers. Like, you're just sitting in school, you're not making any money, and you're this and that. Like, oh, maybe you should become a dentist. First off, I don't even like saliva, so that was out of the question. But even more so, like, they're just go into construction, go do this, go do that, go make money. It's, at the end of the day, money is not everything.
Yeah.
There's people who can make a lot of money but not be passionate about it and end up having a disappointing and depressing life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people who are happiest are the people who do make their money, but they make the money with the thing that they strive to become. I want to go into orthopedics. And orthopedics tend to be one of the happiest surgeons. And the reason why is because they are so passionate about the work that they do. They are passionate about the lives that they can help. And they do make decent money. But the thing that they always talk about first is the fact that they get to put in the work. They get to utilize their hands and their skills in order to operate and help someone become what they are, right? If you see a spine surgeon, they can be in a case for 10, 12 hours. You can't do that if you're just trying to make money, because you won't have the mindset to do that. Like, you weren't passionate about it, right? You'll get bored, you'll get burnt out, but it's the passion that drives you. It's It's the mindset. And so, you know, if you have a passion, if you have a calling that God has put in your heart to become something, you have to allow that to manifest against all odds. The devil put people in your family to even tell you, like, hey man, like, give up, don't even try, don't even continue. Like, my mom was one of the ones who told me I should try to do something else. And I'm like, no, like, I can't. Like, I have this desire in my heart to become a physician. That's it. And so, you know, that's like the main advice. You know, the non-traditional route is definitely a treacherous one, but sometimes the routes that are less traveled end up being the best routes. Yeah. And so for me, like, I wouldn't change anything except the amount of debt that I'm in right now from all the schooling that I've done. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't change anything because I honestly believe that it allowed me to grow significantly, but also it allowed me to be an inspiration for other people as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, and like you have been, you're literally big brother. And I feel like you do such a good job of, like, you know, not only being on top of it yourself, but you're always sending us updates. You're always making sure that we can also be on top of it. Like, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you, see this update? You're always sending updates in the chat. And I feel like because you have had so much experience, you're able to share that with us and you aren't stingy with that information. And, I think I could speak for the class. I can speak for the people when I say that we're grateful for you and your experiences and the experiences that you've shared with us. And yeah, I know you're gonna do amazing things, and you're going to, you know, go from here. It's only up from here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How do you feel, I guess, going into this next season with, like, Mape and just, you know, in your relationship?
Yeah. So this is after match, right? Yes. Okay, so they know. Okay, yes. Okay, good. Yeah, so, you know, my wife, she's a pediatrician. She is basically, you know, she's already done with residency. She just graduated. She's doing a chief year right now, which is basically helping like run the residency program. One of the things that we also have on our mind right now is that she's pregnant. She's about 7 weeks now, 6-7 weeks. And so, like, that's one of the things that we are definitely thinking about. It even ended up, like, when it came to choosing what residency that I wanted to pursue, like, it even in regard to where I wanted to go, it even ended up affecting that as well. Once I saw that thing that said pregnant, I said, all right, no, I have to focus on, I only have 2 things now in my life that I need to focus on. Being the best father and husband that I can be, and being the best resident that I can be in order to become a working man in society. And so, with my Jamaican family, you know what I'm saying? People always be like, yo, what up? You know what I'm saying? I gotta represent. Flag is always in the back pocket. You know what I'm saying? You know, be amongst my family. So then that, you know, my child has support and my wife has support and I have support while we are going through, well, I'm going through residency and she's basically a brand new attendant. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Family's important. It's good to have family around you. I'm so excited for you guys. So happy for you guys.
Thank you.
This is Claire. We'll see if I put my reaction video in this, but congrats again. And yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on the S.T.E.A.M.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Keep your head up, guys. For those who are pursuing medicine, do what you have to do. Keep your head up and you'll make it through.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Scene in STEAM. I'm Jade. If you'd like to help out students studying science, technology, engineering, art, and math, please check out the links below. And I hope you can join us for the next episode.